hello, my beautiful YouTube family. Welcome back to the L learning portion of T.E.L.L. Joanne. I am your girl, Joanne. Hello, my amazing family. Thank you guys so much for being part of this learning journey with me as I listen to the story behind the song. I truly appreciate all the comments that you guys have been giving me. Definitely keep them coming. But before we start, you guys already know what we're about to do if you are part of the family, aka you're ready to subscribe. But if you're new to the channel, this is when I say hello. Now put me on pause or get yourself a beverage of choice. Hit that subscribe button so that you can become part of this absolutely incredible community. And on the count of three, we'll do our chair. You guys ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's go. First time reaction to Freddie Mercury's last vocal recording and final words. So I saw this and I just knew that I needed to see this. So I remember when I first heard my first time reaction on These Are the Days of Our Lives, a lot of you guys did tell me that that was his final recording. So if this video talks about it, and that's that, but I wonder if there was other recordings and
Freddie's last vocal recording and last words.
If this is the first time you guys are seeing this video.
Freddie's last vocal recording.
All right, without further talking, let me just get into the video right now. First time reaction. Let's go.
Freddie's last vocal recording and last words. Freddie Mercury is one of the best singers of all time. The rock legend has sung some of the most influential lyrics of the 1900s. But what were the final words that Freddie spoke? Let's look at the legends behind Freddie's last words and the last song he ever recorded. Between studio recordings and bonus tracks, Freddie Mercury wrote and performed an incredible 70 songs over the course of 21 years with the British rock band Queen. The final full album he produced with the band from start to finish was Innuendo, which released the same year he died in 1991.
Wow.
While this was his final full-length project with the band, Freddie and the rest of Queen had finished recording the songs for Innuendo long before the album dropped in stores. So, while Innuendo was the last album Freddie released while he was still alive, the superstar actually appears on one last album made by the band, Made in Heaven, which came out 4 years after he died. You can hear Freddie Mercury's last vocal recording on this album.
Made in Heaven. So that's interesting. I felt like, if I remember correctly, when I and I don't know if that's on the same record, I guess I'll find out right now, but I remember when I first heard the song and how I felt about it. I remember you guys saying in the comment that the song was just so powerful and that you felt like that was a way of him saying goodbye to everyone. Again, I'm so sorry because I do read the comments. I may not have answered your reply to your comment, but I do read the comments. So I'm curious to see if this narrator is going to talk anything about any of the information that you guys had given me.
Freddie's final vocal recording was actually the lesser-known song called Mother Love that was co-written with Brian May. May was the architect behind Queen. He got the group together, so without him, Freddie may have never risen to fame. It's touching to know the friends worked together on Freddie's last vocal performance during his final years when his health was failing. In spite of Freddie's struggle with AIDS, he kept on building incredible songs right up until the end. Freddie and Brian recorded Mother Love over 3 days in the month of May from the 13th to the 16th, just a short time before Freddie would go knocking on heaven's door. In the years after Freddie's passing, Brian May has spoken out about the process of writing that historic final song. Brian and Freddie wrote together and then would split off on their own for a while to write in solitude before reconvening. Then, they'd combine different parts or cut out different lines as the song began to take form. During their writing session, Freddie seemed almost hurried. He was somewhat detached and ominous compared to his usual fun-loving self. Brian said Freddie told him to write me stuff. I know I don't have very long. Keep writing me words. Keep giving me things I will sing. Then, you can do what you like with it afterwards, finish it off. Brian would write short lines and snippets on whatever scraps of paper they had lying around. Freddie then sung each line 3 times. During these sessions, they didn't know what they were going to use for the final track, but Mercury wanted the band to have as many takes and as many options as possible so they could craft Mother Love when he wasn't around. Except, all this precaution and foresight took its toll on the
Oh, man. I'm just, again, for those of you who have been, Freddie's fan or Queen's fan, I just can't imagine how you guys, feel when you first watch any of these videos or that you're watching them right now. It's just like knowing that he was going through what he was going through, knowing that it was his final days of life, for him to just be like, write as many songs. I just want to be able to sing. I just want to leave a legacy. I just want to leave some things for my fan. Like, it's just like, wow. You know what I mean? Wow. That's all I can say. Ugh.
could craft Mother Love when he wasn't around. Except all this precaution and foresight took its toll on the sickly Mercury. When it came time to sing the final verse of the song, Freddie told May, "I'm not up to this, and I need to go away and have a rest. I'll come back and finish it off." But Freddie never came back. So, how did Brian May and the rest of Queen finish off the track without Freddie's final lines? The band scrapped the original plan, and instead, they sampled Freddie's improv vocals that were recorded during Queen's historic concert on July 12, 1986 at Wembley Stadium. They combined that sample with the intro lines of One Vision and Tie Your Mother Down. After Freddie's final verse in the song, his close friend and bandmate Brian May sang the final verse that Freddie never got a chance to record. Brian's vocals sounded absolutely devastated, and this was one of the most heart-wrenching moments in Queen's catalog. As the song draws to a close, the band sampled a little bit of every Queen song ever recorded up till that point, and played them together at super speed through a physical tape machine. Included in this amazing montage is a cover of Goin' Back. The original Goin' Back was written by Carole King and Jerry Goffin, and Freddie covered it way back in 1972 as a B-side to I Can Hear Music. They also included covers like the one from the Ronettes that were sung by Larry Lyrics in this segment. Did Queen spoil Freddie's legacy by including this Larry guy in his final send-off? Not quite. See, Larry Lyrics was actually a pseudonym that Mercury used prior to his work with Queen.
Wow.
The song ends with a baby crying. Some fans have speculated the crying is Freddie himself, but film wasn't as readily accessible when he was born. The use of the crying is more for artistic symbolism than anything else. While the crying at the end of Mother Love represents Freddie's first vocals, what were the final words he ever spoke? This one is actually wrapped in some controversy. It's unknown who first spread some rumors around Freddie's final words, but some sites will say that Freddie's final words were weird things like pee-pee. This is probably just the internet being the internet, since there's no evidence for outlandish claims like this. The tale of Freddie's final words actually changes depending on who you ask. Everyone who was close with the singer had their own final moments with them. Let's take a look at the first-hand accounts of the final words Freddie ever spoke. Mary Austin shared her account of Freddie's last days during an interview in 2013. Mary was Freddie's ex and lifelong friend. The couple were destined to be soulmates. But Freddie's openness about his sexuality drove a rift between them romantically. While they shared a close bond before Queen's success and even in his final moments, the semblance of a scar resurfaced. Austin and Mercury were watching a video of his last onstage performance with Queen when Freddie said, "To think I used to be so handsome." It's a strange line to leave on. She said the line upset her, so maybe she left to process her emotions, and then never got the chance to come back for a final goodbye. Well, most of the time we think of final words as those spoken by someone. Some argue that Freddie's final words were those written to his friend and fellow music legend Elton John. In Elton John's book titled Love is the Cure, on life, loss, and the end of AIDS, he told the world that Freddie had prepared a Christmas gift for Elton before he passed away. Along with this gift, Freddie wrote a note. This note was unveiled after Mercury had passed, and it read, "Dear Sharon, I thought you'd like this. Love, Merry Christmas." You might be thinking, Sharon, who's that? Well, as a running joke between the singers, Elton and Freddie would make up goofy names for each other, and this silly note may have been the final words that were ever shared with someone. Then there were his last words in a public appearance, which were, "Thank you, good night." Freddie kept the paparazzi at bay for a long time near the end of his road, as the scathing headlines about his declining health made his mental health even worse. The reports were so bad that Freddie stopped his radiation treatment early just to avoid the public eye.
Damn.
These last words in a public presentation were spoken during Queen's acceptance speech for the 1990 Brit Awards. Brian May said much of the thank yous and so-ons, but just like the end of Mother Love, Freddie stepped up right at the end to add his charm with that goodnight closer. Another important last moment with Freddie was his final music video. This powerful moment is near the top of Queen's most heartfelt and touching performances. The video for These Are the Days of Our Lives was recorded in 1991, just a few months before Freddie passed away. At the end of the video, Freddie looks directly at the camera as he delivers the final line of the song, I Still Love You. Then there's Freddie Mercury's last performance with Queen, the one he was watching with Mary Austin just before he passed away. Queen's last live show with Mercury was in 1986, titled A Night of Summer Magic, that took place in Hertfordshire. The band closed with their second most famous track, We Are the Champions, which closed with the line, No time for losers, 'cause we are the champions. By many accounts, the final person to meet with Freddie was his longtime personal assistant, Peter Freestone. Peter recalled his final moments with Freddie, saying, The final time I saw him, he took my hand and said, thank you. I didn't know if he had decided that was it. He was going. There was nothing to stay alive for. I don't know if he was thanking me for everything over the 12 years or just for that last shift. I suppose it doesn't really matter. But the last time I saw him, he was relaxed and prepared. The last words Freddie ever said to his longtime assistant, Peter Freestone, were thank you. After that day, Freddie fell into a coma. Mary, Freddie's friend Dave Clark, and Freddie's lover Jim Hutton were by his side when he passed away on November 23, 1991. In the end, Freddie was around his fellow friends, and it's fitting that his final track was co-written with the man who helped found the band and elevate Freddie to immortal status. Speaking of co-written songs, did you hear about the time Freddie almost collaborated with Michael Jackson? We'll be making a video diving into that crazy story.
Look how they're trying to end the video so that you can continue watching it. They're doing it right. Oh my goodness. So you know what? I feel like for me, what I got out of this video is that at the end of the day, man, I came ready for my learning section today. At the end of the day, with everything that was going on and paparazzi doing what they're doing, and it's just like, you know, at the end of the day, he died with his loved ones around him. And I feel like that is all that matters. And that is it. Like, he died with the people that he loved, the people that knew him, and that's where he died. He died with them around. That's all that matters. So as I watched this video and, you know, about his last recording and final words. So you guys are definitely right. You guys know it. The days, these are the days of our life was definitely the last music that he had recorded. And I think that, you know, as you guys have saw, and of course, if you're fans and you just know him, you can look in the camera and it really does break your heart when he says, you know, his goodbyes, because you know, as you know, I know that when a person is going through some illness and they know that their life is ending, it's like every day could be their last day. Every day could be their last day. So you have to say your goodbyes and your thank yous with any moment that you get, because you just don't know when your final days are going to be, right? And also, seriously, in regards to what the last person words is, it really is the last time for you. Their last word is the last word to you, right? The last time you saw them, the last conversation you had, that is your last. That's all that matters. That is their final words, because it was the last word that you heard them say. And it could even be someone that, you know, your final words to them was 10 years ago. That was the final word that they said to you. But I see this video and I'm getting emotional, and I just and again, I am new to the game, right? I'm new to learning these artists. I'm new to having them in my life and hearing their words and touching me in a certain place. And I know that people who know them for decades and decades, when they hear some things, it touches them so deeply. You know, it doesn't mean that how I feel is less than how, you know, you may feel as a person who know them for a long time. It's just as that, like, again, I'm new and I'm getting to know them, where you may have known their stories and you may have lived it through the times that he passed away. And it's just like how we do. I think I had asked us in one of Elvis video, like how people had says that, do you remember where you were when Elvis passed away? And it's the same thing. Like in my lifetime, artists that passed away, Michael Jackson passed away, Whitney Houston passed away, Prince passed away. You have all of these artists that you grew up with, whether it is that someone that you grew up, you learned, you loved, or your parents loved, and you remember that time, because whether it is that you reacted a certain way or the person that you love reacted a certain way, it's still an imprint in your head, right? So these are memories that's always going to stay with you, and I'm sure that you guys are just like, I'm just glad that new generations are getting to know amazing music, right? Again, to know these amazing people that we grew up with. And thank goodness for YouTube, thank goodness for where technology is, that I can be how many years later and just really getting to know him. I don't know, I'm doing a lot of rambling. I know I'm doing a lot of rambling, but I guess I'm just saying thank you very much for being part of this journey with me, guys, for introducing me to these amazing artists, and for being here as I continue the L portion, not only hearing their music, but to hear a little bit more insight about their life and the story behind the song. On that note, I'll see you guys on the next reaction.